All right, what is up, guys, and welcome back to the Dunk Talk Podcast, episode 66. Today, I'm going to be talking about personal training stuff that I've had within the past year or so. I will give you guys some more context in previous years as well. But just starting off, make sure you check out the last two episodes, guys, if you haven't already. We had some really good guests on. Hunter and I have been consistent, finally filming some interviews with guys again. So make sure you go check those out if you haven't. But again, today, just going to be a solo episode. I've been talking to a lot of people about my training recently because I've had some interesting things happen. I just turned 18, and if you look at me from a year ago compared to me now, I'm definitely a very different dunker, and my body is also very different with just the loads that I can handle and stuff like that. And so today, guys, we're going to be talking about all that and more. And so just to start off, just going to go back a lot, just so for the people that don't entirely know me, just so that you can kind of understand my journey as a whole. So I started out dunking when I was probably 11, 10, 12, whatever years old, just doing a bunch of lower arm stuff, was jumping basically every single day. And then I also started learning the foundations of lifting, learning just how to lift in general, squats, deadlifts, power cleans, hinging, all that stuff. Actually through this right here, now called Thumos, used to be called Pursuit Fitness. Shout out Cam and Ian. I was filming with them the other day. It was a lot of fun. I had some knee pain, so couldn't go all the way, or as hard as I normally would, but we'll talk about that later because that's going to be a big topic in today's video. But anyways, was learning how to lift at the same time as I was jumping a ton, and that eventually led to me getting my first dunk when I was 13 years old. A lot of people will just say, oh, all genetics, but I promise you at that point, I had already done more jumps than most people do within their entire life. I jumped so much when I was that young. Continued doing that, definitely more training when I was 14, had one injury between 13 and 14, which was, I believe, a bone bruise in my left knee. I think it ended up being some sort of overuse injury that was just triggered by a weird landing within a basketball game. And mind you, again, I'm playing basketball as well throughout all this time. AU and what's it called? Winter basketball through the high school, middle school, whatever. And that will change eventually, but for now, just assume that I'm doing that basically year round. And yeah, didn't make too much progress between 13 and 14. I unlocked some basic dunks, two-handers, windmills, or sorry, not windmills, 360s, two-hander reverses, stuff like that. I made a lot of progress when I was 15, though. And actually, let me backtrack a bit. When I was 14, I went to my first dunk camp, tested a 36.5-inch vertical, just setting that as a benchmark for some more numbers within the rest of the video. When I was 15, got my first windmill pretty quickly after turning 15, and then I was training a lot during that time, was jumping a lot, was playing basketball a lot. And I started to experience more knee pain. I hadn't really experienced knee pain at all within my life. I had heard about it a lot, but I just didn't really know anything about it or like how to take care of it. And so I reached out to a lot of people and a lot of help from a lot of guys. Love the dunk community for that. Even dudes, I'm talking like across programs. I was reaching out to everyone from everywhere, and a lot of people helped me. And so I'm very thankful to all those people. Yeah, at that time I was on Jumpmaster, Jordan's program, for a bit. That was good just for some structure. Eventually got off it for whatever reason. And then later that year, I had my first East Bay. And so that was huge. I also tested a 37.5 during that year's dunk camp, which I think I was probably jumping a bit higher than that at that point, but whatever. And then right after I had my first East Bay, I got on JumpX, which later turned into Jump Master X, and now it's back to JumpX. So we'll just refer to it as JumpX. But yeah, that was a big turning point. However, right as I hopped on, I was then getting into basketball season. And if you know anything about basketball season and training, you know that you really can't do both at the same time effectively. And so basically the entire basketball season, I was just trying not to get hurt. And it worked. I didn't really get hurt. I had a pretty solid season. That was my last season of basketball. Or was it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was my last season of basketball. So I quit the only reason I'll talk about is to pursue dunking as a full-time career. There's a lot of reasons, and so then, yeah, that year, or after that basketball season ended, I went full in on getting ready for dunk camp in June 2024. And during that camp, I tested a 41.5-inch vertical, pretty solid, 4-inch objective increase from the year before. Again, I don't think I was jumping only 37.5 the year before, but whatever. A month later, or a month or two later, my first behind the back and hide and seek at the August camp. Did my first dunk contest right after the first camp, by the way. I got second place in that. After the August camp, I did another dunk contest. That was my first contest. I'm just kind of speed running now, by the way, just to get past some stuff because all the training is whatever at this point. And so after August dunk camp, I don't really deload at all. Like I'm in the lab, I'm training every single day, or basically every single day, dunking a lot, of course. Didn't make any like huge jumps in progress when it came to dunking or vertical, but I'm just training a lot, and that's something that I need to do in this stage, is just get a lot of training and get a lot of reps in the weight room. So yeah, I did a lot of that. I played YMCA basketball last year. in that winter. And that was dumb because obviously it's preventing me from training as hard as I possibly can. But I don't entirely regret it, of course, because it's with friends, whatever. But it is very interesting to see, even a year ago, I could handle more than I can handle right now. I don't think I could handle any sort of basketball season right now, even if it was like the lowest intensity ever. Yeah, next big thing after that is January. I went to a session with Haugen in Vegas. Dunkademics filmed it. There was a bunch of guys from SoCal, Utah, all that. Big session. But again, I didn't deload just because I wasn't really focused on jumping high in that moment. I still did pretty good that day though. Behind the back, East Bay, would have hit some cool stuff. Rim was super stiff though. I could make an entirely different or an entirely new podcast about why I'm very unique in that like stiff rims penalize me and some dunkers that are similar to me very specifically. But that's an entirely different topic for a different day. And so the month after, February, I was like, so this is like the first time deloaded in a long time. I'm like doing a lot less volume. And it's not like a 1 day deload, like a 1 week deload. It was like for 2 weeks straight, I had taken out Olympic lifting or Olis or whatever you want to call them. And I also was deloading at the same time. So I was feeling so fresh. My brain was feeling amazing. And I was going to Winona, which is one of my favorite gyms to dunk at. And 911 rim, pretty floppy, great floor. And I just knew, like, I'm going to hit an underbolt this day. That was the most confident I've ever been that I was going to hit a dunk, besides maybe my first East Bay. That day, I was also insanely confident that I was going to make it. But anyways, I hit it as well as my first backboard East Bay. Honey dip. I feel like there was a couple other ones that day, but I'm just not remembering right now. But it was a really good day. Literally the day after that, I won another dunk contest. The month after that, I got flown out to my first contest, and I won that against some pro basketball players. And then, yeah, it's just grinding basically from there on out until dunk camp. So dunk camp, that was this year in 2025, June 2025. And I was expecting quite a bit this year. I was expecting that I was going to be on the level of a pro. I was very confident that by that point, I was going to be an entirely different dunker. Leading up to camp, I didn't hit any underbolts or any elite dunks really. So I was a little bit skeptical going into camp, but I was still like, bunch of adrenaline. You're going to have a bunch of adrenaline. You're going to be deloaded. You're going to be in front of all these great dunkers. There's no way you underperform. And then, of course, I go, I underperform. But you could argue that I didn't. Like, I had a pretty solid session behind the back, East Bay, 360 cuff windmill, whatever, but just like nothing that crazy for what I know that I am capable of. And that was the point where I was just like, all right, whatever. That was not great, but can't do anything about it. Now it's just time to really lock in on some stuff that I hadn't really experimented with before, because I had not a ton of events coming up, and I knew that it was just time to kind of work on some things that I've neglected for a long time. The main one being deep squats. I've been doing half squats and quarter squats my entire life, and so I knew that it was really just time to get into it, learn them, figure it out. And talked a lot with my coaches, Tom and Austin. Tom mainly does my programming, so a lot of calls with him, just figuring things out. Form is still not amazing, but at the time it was a lot worse. And since then, I've gotten a lot stronger within deep squatting positions. At the start, I was doing like just 135 every single set for 5. It was very difficult. Even that would leave me sore for days. But now I believe I'm at like 205 for 5 deep squats. I could probably do that for a couple sets, which is great. Still not nearly as strong as I would like to be. That's still like embarrassingly weak in my eyes anyway, and so I really want to get that up. But it's definitely a lot of progress, and can't neglect progress like that. So it does definitely feel good to finally start making some progress in an area that I've never really been good at all. So yeah. And then during that time, I'm also doing midweek sessions as well. So basically my leading up, like up until 15, I was jumping almost every single day. 16, or during basketball season, only jumping like once a week. And then 16, definitely jumping 2 times a week. So Wednesday, Saturday. And then most of 17, also jumping Wednesday, Saturday. But as I just started jumping higher, like as of recent, I started to just deal with like more knee pain, and not even like bad knee pain, but just not feeling good. Like I've never not wanted to dunk in my entire life. Like I want to go dunk right now. I would love to. It's the most fun thing in the world. But you know, when your body just doesn't feel good, it's very like demotivating to go out there and dunk. I literally just feel like I just woke up from a nap or something like that. That's the type of feeling that I was having a lot of the times, because let's just say I just got home from school. Do I really have to go dunk right now? Again, I would love to, but then I go and suck, and then that's not as fun. So I'm being partly sarcastic, because I do love dunking, and I will literally do it under any circumstances. But my midweek sessions became a lot more inconsistent, not because I didn't want to do them, but because I really just couldn't. I wasn't feeling good. And just at some point, it's just not even worth it. It's not worth the extra fatigue, the extra possibility for an injury and knee pain when I can just dunk on Saturday for a long time and try hard. Or at least that was my opinion a few months ago. It's changed slightly now. So after June dunk camp, really didn't do anything for a long time, big events wise. I did do one event, maybe a couple, I don't know. I did do one event that I won, and I hit an inverted scorpion over somebody in that contest. It was the first time that's ever been done by anybody in a contest, so that was cool. Oh, I also did a dunk show, which went really good as well. I had a double up honey dip to end it off. I had some other really big sessions in Minnesota. The first one at H4, shout out to them. Best gym in the state. I'm not even kidding. I love that gym so much. Had a lot of good dunks that day. Definitely one of my best sessions for sure. And then the contest that I won, the first contest that I won in 2024 was called the Nickel Dickle. It's like a yearly thing in Waconia, Minnesota. I won that the year before, and so I got invited back this year. It's a high school contest, and I knew that I really wanted to show up for that, and so that was kind of like the next thing that I was preparing for. So I didn't really deload much at all. Yes, obviously deload once a month-ish, but it wasn't like truly trying to freshen up. It was just kind of like getting ready for the next cycle kind of thing. So yeah, I get ready for that contest. It's in September, like mid-September. Deload, all that. And at that contest, that was probably the best I've ever felt, ever. And it's a shame that I went and did a bunch of push-off dunks because again, I just could have done so good that day. And it's actually like painful to think about. I was literally warming up in like a tiny elementary school classroom and then this hallway. And then I walk out onto the court and there's a couple hundred people in the gym at least. And I just felt ridiculously good. Like my warm-up jumps felt insane. I didn't really hit anything too crazy in warm-ups. Did I hit a cuff? I don't know. I had multiple one-handers, which felt pretty crazy. I had a pretty solid height check. I had a scorpion randomly. I like to just randomly try that in warm-ups. It's fun. And yeah, and then I do the contest. I did a double up X one hand, or kind of like double up 180 type of thing. It looked cool, but it wasn't that good. I kind of threw the ball into the rim. Probably should have missed that dunk, to be honest. Second one, just did a 360 cuff windmill, which it was ridiculously easy. I got to here on the rim. Mind you, this rim is 9'11" and a half, so it's very legit. And I just punched it first try. And not that like I struggle with that dunk, but there are definitely still days where I just don't hit that dunk super consistently. And so to hit that with so much space was like, wow, like I'm really jumping good this day. After that, hit a double piece bay first try. Technique was absolutely trash. I didn't even really get to push off at all. Like I tried to push off because it's a double up. I just completely messed it up. Instead of pushing straight down, I pushed to the side and I literally just did an east bay and made it, which was sick. So again, like another example of me just feeling super good. Then last dunk, did a chair double up over my brother, and it literally looks like I didn't push off at all. Obviously I did, but like it was just so clean. Like everything about that day was just ridiculously good. Like I felt really good jumping. My hands were on point, and more importantly, like my mental was just ridiculously locked in. Like never been so locked in my life. Didn't miss a dunk contest. Straight 50s, no misses, won. Like it was great. And the unfortunate part about dunking is that oftentimes for contests like that, realistically, I probably could have done the exact same dunks if I felt like half as good. And it's just unfortunate that a lot of times I spend my best jumping days or like my training, like leading up to a day like that, where I realistically, again, could have won if I felt half as good. I'm not saying that the other people in the contest were bad. It's not even about that at all. It's just that I can still just do the same dunks. They probably wouldn't have looked quite as good. I might have missed a couple times, but could have done the exact same dunks jumping like 3 inches lower. And especially because a lot of them, again, were push-offs. And so it's a shame because, again, like it is a little bit demotivating. Obviously, it's not like truly demotivating. I'm just saying things just to tell you guys. It is a little bit demotivating to see myself like in February of this year hitting an underbolt, hitting an east bay off the backboard, doing all these crazy dunks, and then the next time I jump good is in a contest and I can't like go and do more dunks afterwards. And so I haven't really seen myself in my prime. That's my point. There's more stuff after this, which is like injury wise, which I do want you guys to hear as well, because I think that's important since the main topic of this is training anyway and injuries. It's just an interesting thing about being a dunker where a lot of the times when you feel your best, you're not even going to get to experience the dunks that you're going to be capable of doing. Like I probably could hit a 360 east bay that day. I probably could hit multiple honey dips that day. I probably could hit, I don't even know, like just a lot of stuff. So it's just unfortunate that, again, didn't get to experience what that true peak would have felt like. But at the end of the day, I love contests, so I'm not going to complain at all. I'm not complaining about the contest. I'm more so just complaining that I haven't really got to see myself dunking at my peak vertical since February again. So yeah, after that contest, really nothing. I had one big session coming up, which Travis, Ben, Hunter, CJ, and Finn all came out to my house to dunk here. And leading up to that session, I got very scared. It was like actually right after that dunk contest, I messed up something in my right ankle. And I knew that I had done the exact same thing before, but I didn't exactly remember what I did to fix it. I was kind of like, I probably just went away on its own. So I did one session on it. Not too bad. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. I did another session on it, and I believe it was a midweek session on a Wednesday, and it was really bad. It was just really bad. But again, I was just like, dude, last time I guarantee it just went away. You'll be fine. And so I kept jumping on this stupid ankle injury until the point where it was like really impeding my sessions. It hurt a lot. I don't really like doing pain scales. I think that they're just not entirely accurate because it really depends a lot person to person. If we are doing pain scales, it was very high on the pain scale. And so, yeah, it was messed up. And eventually I went to the doctor, which I rarely do for injuries because I generally just know how to manage them myself, or at least the ones that I generally deal with. But I was like at the point where I had pushed it so far that I was wondering if there was a more serious problem going on. And they told me it was just like a midfoot sprain, which is nothing, no big deal. Ankle sprain, it's not really a real issue. And so I literally just rested it for a week and then I was completely fine. And so I know what to do next time for that now. And so then they come here, all the guys come here. Before the session, we were being kind of stupid. We did like the drive-by dunks thing. We went and dunked on a low rim a little bit. Nothing like full intensity, but enough that it might have impeded our session a little bit or caused the thing that I'm about to talk about. During that session, I expected to jump very well. It was, again, one of the first times in a while that I actually was like, I think I actually have a chance to hit an under both or do really well this day. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I spent not too long trying under both. I was just trying to hit a freaking behind the back. Couldn't do it. Hit East Bay first try. I mean, hit a lot of my dunks first try. It was pretty solid, but then I just fell off. And during that session, I tried a bunch of random stuff like behind the back scorpion, 360 behind the back, lost and found decent bit, the venom, like just whatever I could think of. I was just trying that session. And those type of sessions are a lot of fun. However, I just don't find them to be the most productive. They're definitely not the most productive use of my time. If you guys watch Kilgannon dunk or Travis dunk, I guess not a lot of their like posted sessions are like this. When they're doing practice sessions, a lot of the time they just rep out the same dunk the entire time. And I haven't done that for a long time. And it's stupid because I enjoy it a lot. Like that is what I grew up doing, is just like seeing a dunk on social media and then going outside and trying that dunk until I make it. But recently, for whatever reason, I've strayed away from that. I think one thing that a lot of dunkers do, myself included, I'm a huge victim of this, is getting into a routine in your dunk sessions and then showing up and doing the same dunks every single week. So for me, that routine would look like one-hander, two-hander, windmill, reverse pump, cuff windmill, 360 cuff windmill, East Bay, and then I would try behind the back, and then I would try a bunch of random stuff. And that was just every single session. Like I had no real goal behind it. I wasn't counting my jumps. I wasn't doing anything, whatever. But anyways, later on this session, I'm doing some double ups, jumping stupid high on these because again, I'm pushing off. Like head is literally at or near the rim. And I do a double up East Bay and I land weird. And I notice something in my left knee. And I would try to show it on video, but it would be like really backed up here. But basically, it's like Travis called it my distal patellar tendon, or like distal patellar tendonitis. But basically, if you know about the patellar tendon, let's just say this is your leg. This is like the highest point of the patellar tendon. This is the lowest point. It is literally like where the tendon inserts on the bottom. It's a very weird situation. And it's something that I've never felt before. And I was like, at the start, I was literally concerned it was like a bone thing because the spot it's in doesn't make any sense. But after talking to quite a few people, the consensus is it is very likely a tendon thing, which if it's a tendon thing, not a huge deal. I know how to handle tendon things, and I'm just going to have to be smart about it. But Travis apparently has dealt with this a lot. I think I heard Ethan Owens dealt with this as well. I haven't talked to Ethan, so Ethan fact check me on that if I just lied in front of a bunch of people. I don't know. It's a very interesting situation. Another thing that made me think it wasn't a tendon thing is that it was caused on a landing. And so I was like, a lot of the time, if you get tendonitis or something like that, it's overuse. It's not a contact injury or something like that. But again, what we decided is that it's most likely kind of like a tipping point situation. So let's just say you're going up, 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 and then like right here is when you will get that overuse injury and start going down. Let's just say I got to like right here, and then that landing was just like boom, pushed it over the edge. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking. Again, I don't know if distal patellar tendonitis is the right name. That's what I've heard. So we'll just go with that. But I have to deal with that now. And again, I didn't take it super seriously. So that was my last 10-foot session before turning 18. I did one more session on the Wednesday before. It was the 22nd. I promised that I would go film with, again, my old trainer. And that was probably not the smartest idea. I didn't have the most ideal warm-up situation, and I ended up pushing it way too hard. I was probably going around 80% that session. The room was 9, 10 and a half. Still hit like an East Bay windmill, stuff like that. So again, I wasn't going 100%, but I was feeling it pretty bad. Not even kidding, like 6 or 7. I'm not, no memes. I'm not even kidding. We'll just say 7, just so that I don't have to go through that. But it was really bad. It was extremely bad. I called Travis for half an hour afterwards because I was like, dude, this is really messed up. And he kind of just talked me through what he does to deal with his. And then, of course, like 10 minutes after he called me, it went away entirely. And so that's been the really weird part about this injury, is that I don't entirely know what's going on. I don't entirely know what to do. All I know is that this is going to be a learning process of me figuring it out. I did try to jump the weekend after the weekend I injured it, and I did my entire warm-up. I wasn't feeling it at all. Literally nothing in warm-ups, nothing in ISOs, nothing during my dynamic warm-up, nothing during my sprint development. But then as soon as I started doing some jumps, I got to around 40%, started feeling it. 40% is very low effort. It's like touching the middle of the net kind of thing. I did some 60% jumps, probably was doing some basic one-handers, tried some like lost and found attempts, super low effort. I was probably feeling it like 4 to 5 out of 10, which again, pain scales kind of difficult to assess since they're different for every single person. However, not good to be at that low of an effort and feeling that level of pain. And so I had to cut the session. I was smart about it. Shout out to me. I'm normally not very smart about stuff like that, but cut the session. And since then, I had a pretty decently long call with Tom, and we just figured out that it's just that time. I'm not going to say getting old, but I'm getting older, and it's just time for me to pay attention to things. I've never really had to try hard to keep myself healthy. It's just kind of happened. Like I mentioned multiple times throughout this video, if I got an injury, I'd just be like, it'll deal with it on itself. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And for a long time that worked, but no longer at that stage right now. And so I'm going to have to be being more smart with my training, being more smart with my recovery. And a big part of that is going to be limiting my jumps. So literally setting a set number of jumps that I'm going to do per session. Right now I'm thinking for Saturday sessions, it's likely going to be 25 to 30. And then during that, not only is it going to help me not get hurt, not be an idiot, but it's also going to help me be more productive during that session. So let's just say, and these are max effort jumps, by the way, like warm-up jumps don't count. So let's just say once I'm like, all right, this jump right here is going to be my first max effort jump. I'll just give an example. Like the first dunk, let's just say I do a windmill. Second dunk, I do a 360 cuff windmill. Then an East Bay. Let's just say I'm having a good session. Then bang, I literally just hit those 3 dunks in, first try each. I've only done 3 jumps and I still have 22 left. That's a lot of jumps. Let's just say the next time I have a session, this is my plan. I'm going to do that, hit those 3 dunks, then try behind the back. Let's just say 5 times. If I make it, great. If I make it 3 times, great. If I miss it, whatever, move on to the next thing. And then I'm just going to try 1 dunk the entire time. And that could be inverted scorpion. I really want to get that down. It could be lost and found. I really want to get that down. But long story short, just want to dedicate the entire session to 1 or 2 dunks, depending on if I can make one or not. And it might be boring for a while, but I do think the reward or how it feels to hit a new dunk is very rewarding. And it's a lot more rewarding than hitting the same dunks over and over again. And so I think it's finally time for me to dedicate myself to that. I also plan to jump on Wednesdays when I can, maybe do 10 max effort jumps, or not even max effort on Wednesdays, probably like 80% or something like that on a lower rim. And again, just dedicate it all to 1 dunk. Let's just say I want to get better at 360 East Bay, do a bunch of 360 East Bays on 9.6 or something like that. And so that's going to be huge in recovery. Sleep is also going to be huge in recovery. My sleep is not that amazing. I've got school, social media stuff that I'm working on, training, obviously training, dunking, kind of the same thing. I've got a job where I work on a bunch of digital marketing stuff, probably work 20, maybe not 20, like 15 to 20 hours a week. And so I've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things I don't talk about on here much at all. But yeah, a lot of stress, a lot of bad nights of sleep because I'm staying up late working on things. And so I know that it will all pay off eventually. But for now, I think I need to tone back a little bit and just make sure I'm getting good sleep. Nutrition as well. I'll be getting protein in. I've had plenty of talks with Travis about this as well. Never been great about getting my protein in, never tracked it too much. I will go on like streaks for a week where I'll track my protein. I'll get 1.5 times body weight or maybe like 1.25. I don't even remember what I was doing, but I need to get back on that. Another thing is ball handling. Again, like I do consider myself very skilled when it comes to the actual skill of dunking, moving the ball around my body, doing trick dunks, stuff like that. But now that I'm going to be jumping a lot less, I need to be getting ball handling work in elsewhere. And so this is not just for me, like all of you, if you want to get better at dunking, you should be doing standing, hand speed stuff like that. Just be like moving the ball around your body as fast as you can, doing standing low arm stuff where you're like actively practicing doing a dunk and then putting the ball in the rim. So that is going to be a daily thing from now on. I'll take one day off on Friday, just do really light stuff that day, just so I can keep the ball in my hands, but then be fresh for Saturday. So just a lot of getting healthy because I don't really have anything coming up too soon, but I do have a pretty big session planned in, let's just say, early December. See about that. I'm probably not going to talk about for a while. We'll see what happens with it. And then I do have an event late December. Got plenty of stuff next year, obviously, but for the next month, the goal is just going to be get healthy. I guess I have no idea when this is going to come out, but the rest of October, basically all of November is just going to be get healthy, get back to dunking, get on a healthy life schedule where I can get all the things I'm currently doing done while also adding in those new things like tracking protein, getting good sleep, all that. I also just hopped on creatine because it was my 18th birthday. Parents made me wait till I was 18 to get on creatine. So been on that for a few days now, feeling pretty good. I've gained like 3 pounds almost instantly. And so that's going to be interesting. I'll keep you guys updated on that. Maybe I'll do an episode on creatine for dunkers. I know I've talked to Donovan. I know Hunter's done it for a while. So that'd be an interesting episode. Let me know if you guys want to see that. But yeah, I'm trying to make sure that I've hit everything here. The main two things that have been happening recently are the ankle and knee thing. Ankle thing's completely gone, by the way. Just the knee thing now. I lifted today. Zero pain in my knee at all, which doesn't make any sense because I had to cut my session because of it 2 days ago, which is frustrating. So hopefully I can jump this weekend. We'll see. I have no idea at this point. It is Halloween, so maybe I'll do some light costume stuff for Instagram. I am trying to lock back in on social media as well, so I'm not gonna. This has turned into me just saying all the random things I do, which none of it's actually random. It's all connected very closely, and I would love to make an episode talking about all the things I do, but not entirely relevant to today, so I'm not going to bore you guys with that. But let me know if you guys want to see that as well. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to update you all on my training. I think there's not a lot of long form talking content within the dunk community, and that's my goal, is to not only improve the podcast space so that people in this generation have things to listen to, but also people in the next generation have things to look back to. But then also a lot of this gets repurposed to Google as well on my website, dylan-haugen.com. So if you guys want to go check that out, I mean, I don't really gain much of anything from it, but I will gain some traffic, which will then help dunk content get pushed out to more people, ranking on keywords, stuff like that. That's basically my job now. So I'm excited about that. A lot of this stuff's getting repurposed onto there. So if you guys have been on the podcast, keep your eyes out for an article about you, which will help you rank on Google and in AI search engines like ChatGPT. You'll be able to ask ChatGPT about yourself and it'll pull things directly from this podcast. So that's cool. But again, that's not entirely relevant either. I'm just yapping at this point. But I love talking about this stuff, guys. Let me know who you guys want to see on the podcast next. I got a ton of ideas for people I want to get on. If you guys have anyone specific, more than happy to hear you out. More than happy to get whoever on here. Again, Hunter and I are trying to film these as consistently as possible. So if you guys have been enjoying them, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you're on YouTube. Leave a good review if you're on Spotify. Go subscribe to the Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Again, just support as well as you can, guys. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next episode.